So what we want to do here, this is kind of a process to go through. And again, we're going to apply it to health and fitness, but think of this as just a general framework here. You can plug and play this stuff into whatever the goal is, right? But it all starts with that initial, like, okay, I need to sit down and I actually need to make a list of all of the things that I want to do in life, again, like, maybe it's learn a language, maybe it's start a family, maybe it's do X, Y, Z. I mean, spend some time, write down every possible conceivable goal that you have, right? Because some of them are going to be time constrained. If you're like, oh, I want to climb, I don't know, the fucking highest mountain, I don't know, the Himalayas, I want to climb whatever, you want to do this, are you really going to be like, okay, I'll put that off until I'm 60, 70, Probably not. You're going to be like, okay, well, if that's something that I really want to do, I'm going to have to prioritize that in the next 5, 10, whatever years it is for you, right? So if you have these vague goals and you don't actually sit down and go, okay, this is, these things need to be done at this certain stage in my life, you're not going to accomplish it, right? They're just going to be vague goals. So it all starts with literally, I mean, every single goal that you have, even if it's a vague goal, even if it's just that'd be nice, that'd be kind of cool to do, that'd be fun. Write it all down, right? And then go through that list, right? And it makes sense to have some sort of calendar of your life in front of you, and just like, even if it's just a timeline, being like, right, I'm 20 now, this is 20 to 30, this is 30 to 40, this is whatever, 40, 50, keep going forward, right? And you'd be like, right, well, if I have these fitness goals, am I going to maximize them in my 70s? Probably not, right? So let's cross out those years. They're not going to be like working towards building. They're going to be maintaining, right? And you kind of work backwards and go, okay, well, that means that right now I have to prioritize this stuff, right? I have to prioritize it now, or I'm never going to achieve it whenever, right? And it really makes sense to do that, to sit down and go, okay, here's my timeline. Here's all my goals. What are my priorities? And I mean, just from a purely timeline perspective, right? Map out your priorities, but then do a further step and actually sit back, like take a step back. Usually I like to encourage people to do this, not all at once, just be like, write down all your goals, write out a timeline of, when you can work on these things, and then, take a step back, come back to it the next day, in a week's time, whatever, and then actually sit down and go, these are my actual priorities in life. Like we've discussed before, like the two of us care about having kids. I want to have as many fucking kids as I possibly can. I want to have a family, right? And so for me, I know, like right now, while I don't have kids, I can work on all these other attributes. I can work on, I can go to the gym more often. I can go do jujitsu 4 nights a week. I can, spend 10 hours a day working, right? I can, I really have to focus on obviously bumping up my income if I want to have fucking 8 kids, right? So I need to work on all of this stuff now so that I lay the foundations so that I can have the family that I want, right? And you can't kind of do it backwards. I can't go, oh yeah, I'm going to start a family and I don't have enough income to support them, so I'm probably going to have to stop after 2 kids because I'm not able to support them, and I'm not able to spend more time with them because I'm doing jujitsu 4 nights a week, and I'm going to the gym, and I'm doing this, and I have to work 10 hours per week, and blah blah blah. It's like some things can't be done together. Obviously, people do that together. I'm not saying that's impossible, but I'm just saying, you have to kind of map this stuff out. So you need to sit down and go, what are my actual priorities in life? And this is a really important and valuable tool to actually do, especially at the start of all this, and kind of go, right, these are my priorities. Then just assess your current life. Like if you say, okay, people often do like a pie chart and be like, how much of your time, or what's a priority for you? You might be like, well, 60% is family, friends, social life. I really value that stuff, right? And you're like, that's a 60% of my value list, right? And you have all the other stuff that fills it in. And then you go, okay, well, what am I currently allocating towards that? And you look at your time, you look at your priorities, and you're like, I only allocate 5% towards something that I value at 60%. Right? So then you need to reorganize your life and go, okay, I need to reprioritize some things because I have been prioritizing X over something that actually matters, right? Now, that's not always a perfect thing because, again, as we said, sometimes you're going to need to prioritize something else ahead of something that actually matters more to you purely because it actually sets you up to be able to engage in that stuff for the rest of your life. Like I always think like your 20s and 30s should kind of be spent maximizing your fucking income. Like if you have the highest income possible, that also sets you up for, later in life in your old age, but also allows you to do whatever the fuck you want to do later in life. And while, yeah, you're giving up your 20s, your best years, your most energetic years, like it's not like you have to completely disregard all of that other stuff. You know, it's not like you can't be working on your fitness. It's not like you can't be working on your relationships, whatever. But if you lay that foundation, you spend those years 20 to 30 getting your income up to as high as it possibly can for your career choice and whatever else, like you've set yourself up to do whatever you want in your 30s, in your 40s, whatever, right? So we have to not necessarily just look at the right now, what your priority list is. Like, yeah, your priorities are these, your time allocation is this. Is that actually working towards the ultimate priority? And that's why we have that timeline to go, this is when I need to focus on these different things. And we're going to come back to that later on in the podcast when we're talking about actually mapping this stuff out more clearly, right? But what I want to do right now is let's actually put this framework into play, right? Let's actually go through, you know, let's be clear in our goals, right? Let's actually go, this is what we're aiming towards, right? So health and fitness, we're in this realm, right? And we've talked about this before in terms of what are we actually looking for in this? And again, I'm thinking about this. This is a client who's come to me, they have vague goals. And maybe I'm doing a consultation call with them. And I'm like, what are you aiming towards? What are we looking towards? What are we trying to accomplish? They might have some vague goals, but we want to make some stuff really concrete. So we have that clear direction, right?